aside from the people who actually think I give a single goddamn about how they feel about my political views, and the people who ask me to stop whining and complaining about when I talk about how I feel that certain car manufacturers and other electronics manufacturers are missing the ball on giving the customer and their consumers what they want. Every now and then, I get a message in my inbox that I absolutely feel that I should address in some way. And since I've purchased like 8 of these damn cars from Chrysler, and most people are quick to tell me, oh, I'd never buy anything from Dodge. I'd never spend a dime in a Chrysler product, blah, 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 blah. I felt that of all the people who should make a video like this or rant talking about the things that Chrysler should have learned up until this point, I figure that I'm probably one of the best people who could possibly come up with a list of things that they should have learned. So I'm making a very simple video about the top things that Chrysler should have learned at this point about the consumer base. Number one, let's get this out of the way first. You fucked up the Jeep Hellcat. I'm not going to call it Trackhawk. I'm not going to play into your stupid fucking games. I'm not going to play into them. Jeep Hellcat, you fucked it up. You didn't give it the proper hood. You didn't give it the proper wheels. You could have even put a spoiler on the back that was slightly different than the spoiler I have. You didn't even do that. You didn't put the badges on it. You didn't give it anything special. In fact, you didn't even give it a distinctive exhaust note. What you assholes did was you added one of those stupid Helmholtz chamber extra mufflers just so you could quiet it down. Oh, well, if somebody's driving this thing, they're most likely going to have their family in it, and their family is not going to want to hear all that extra noise. Whoever you are, I don't know who you are at that company, but I hope to God that either you're already fired or they find you and fire you. Whoever put together this muffler system and made this thing quieter and made it so you can barely hear the supercharger, unlike the Challenger and the Charger, I want you fired immediately because you don't deserve a job at that company. I don't know where you are. I don't know if you're in Italy. I don't know if you're in America. I don't know where you are. I don't know if you're in Canada. But I want them to find you. And after I put this out, I'm going to have some people sign a petition because I want you located and I want you gone. If I was the CEO, you'd be fired already. Why the fuck would you take a vehicle like this and make it quieter? I don't give a goddamn about these foreign, these stupid European muffler emissions, all that bullshit. You could have used exhaust cutouts just like you've got those active cutouts on the other Hellcats. You could have put that stuff in there and you could have made this thing have a distinctive exhaust note. You could have made it louder. So you fucked up every single possible way you could. You didn't give it the Hellcat hood. You didn't give it the Hellcat badges. You didn't give it the Hellcat wheels. And then on top of that, you made it quieter. I want you gone. And that's the bottom line. And I know you don't like me, but that's okay because I really don't care. I want you fired. And I just want everybody to understand that whoever is responsible for ruining this truck, whoever's responsible for ruining this, I want you gone. Not only that, and this is something I never really mentioned before, this thing only does a maximum of like 180 miles, where in the other Hellcats do 200 miles per hour. Now, if it's because of the all-wheel drive system and all the extra drag because of the wheels, okay, I could understand that from a technical point of view. But what you should have done was you should have made it so that speedometer goes up to 200 or 205 or whatever. So this way, anybody who takes their Jeep Hellcat, I'm telling you, I'm not playing your fucking games. Fuck the Trackhawk badge name. I'm not playing your games. Anybody who takes their Jeep Hellcat and modifies it could get over 200 miles per hour, and they'd be able to see that easily on the speedometer. I want you gone. And that's the bottom line. I'm sorry. I just want you gone. So that's number one. And I figured I had to get that off my chest as quickly as possible because ultimately, I've been whining about that for a long time. I'm really fucking angry and I'm very disappointed. I'm very disgusted with whoever you are. I want you gone. That's the bottom line. There are some people who say that the main reason why the Jeep Trackhawk isn't selling is because of its price, which I disagree with. The real reason why it's not selling faster is because it's not exciting. If they can move Tesla P100Ds at $150,000 and they can move all these little bullshit Nissan GTRs and whatever for 110 and all that nonsense. If they can move these cars at prices like that, then what that means is that you have a consumer market that has the money, but all they need you to do is give them something to buy. And these people have between $100,000 and $200,000 to spend. That's why you see these piece of shit Acura NSXs, and you see so many of these people renting these, leasing these Huracans for $2,700 a month, like they do up at my Lamborghini Long Island, not too far away. No, these people have the money. Just like when that Lamborghini Urus comes out, that thing's going to easily sell. Not because it's a Lamborghini that's been a rebadged Audi Q7 or Q8 or whatever. The simple fact is there's people who got that kind of money. They want the speed, they want a showy car, and they want to be able to carry their entire family of 5. You fucked up with the Jeep Trackhawk. It could have been exciting. It's not. The people who do have the money are taking their money elsewhere, and they're buying them shitty, slower BMW X6Ms and whatever, X5Ms, and those slower Mercedes because they can't get more power out of those shitty twin-turbo hairdryer bullshit V8s that have less than 700 horsepower, wherein you had 707. You can beat them in a race, but you can't beat them by getting people to actually come in and spend the money because your car just isn't exciting enough. That's why you need to be fired. Okay, number 2. In all of your brilliance and lack of planning, you didn't give us a 300 Hellcat, nor have you hinted to or alluded to one coming. So basically what you people did was you took a simple engine, automatic transmission, computer, and extra cooling system formula. You put it in a Challenger, you put it in a Charger, and then you took it away from the 300. Now, this is on top of the fact that you morons, yes, that's right, I said morons, canceled the Dodge Magnum. And now I have to argue with all these stupid assholes who think that the Magnum had its chance and failed. Meanwhile, you bastards didn't even give it an upgrade. You didn't give it a Pentastar V6. You didn't give it an 8-speed. And now the entire market, just a few years later after you get rid of it, after the bailout era, now the market has moved to crossovers, SUVs, and whatever they can get away with believing is a wagon without calling it a wagon, because most of these quote-unquote alpha males, they want to feel like they're driving something that's manly. That's the reason why they're buying the Dodge Durango. So when you had a chance to have the 300 and you had a chance to have an upgraded Magnum, which basically was nothing more than a 300 with a different body face on it, and you could have had the Pentastar, and you could have had the V8, and you could have had the Hellcat as options. You didn't even have to make that many trims. You canceled one, and then you only gave Australia the other. And then you said, oh, well, we're not going to have a 300 Hellcat. You, whoever you are at product planning, I want you fired. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know who's going to see this video and think, you know what, maybe I should fire that guy. I just want you fired, because we could have had a Magnum, a 300, a Charger, and a Challenger, and you'd have basically the same damn car, basically, and you'd be able to swap that engine and that transmission, that 8-speed automatic, which is fantastic, between all of these cars. All you'd have 4 fucking perfect cars. And people would be able to either get that V6 with the all-wheel drive, or they'd be able to get that Hellcat as a Magnum. So this way they don't have to spend fucking $100,000 for your stupid Trackhawk. You ruined the lineup. You ruined the lineup. Absolutely ruined it. I wish you could see the Trump finger right now, because it's out. You ruined the lineup. You had 4 perfect vehicles of perfect size, rear-wheel drive characteristics with all-wheel drive as options, and you fucked it all up. I just want you fired. That's it. I don't know how many times I can reiterate that. I want you fired. People have already heard me say it, that I already recognize that these are basically $30,000 cars which are being sold upwards of $100,000, which, to your credit, you pulled off magnificently with your marketing campaign. I'm glad I can say that you did something right. But I'm hearing buzz that it's very possible that there could be new trims of the Dodge Charger released, such as the Red Eye trim package to accompany the Challenger, which would basically be the exact same car with a detuned Demon engine. making 797 horsepower, and that it's very possible that there could be an Angel, which I absolutely don't believe is going to happen, with 900 horsepower or more. Now, while I absolutely do believe that the red eye is possible for the Charger, in fact, it should have probably already happened, but I understand that you have to time these releases, I don't think the Angel's going to happen at all. Now, what I can say, however, is that if I was a Dodge Demon owner, I'd be disgusted with you, because right now I'd be looking at my Demon and thinking that now every single asshole is going to be rolling around with a fucking red eye, or they're going to be trading in their cars in order to get a red eye so that they can have a non-drag race car that has the luxury features of the regular Challenger Hellcat. And now I'm going to see so many more of these guys on the street, and they're going to have regular street tires that are wide body tires. And now I have to worry about these bastards trying to drag race me everywhere I go. And if I don't use my launch control, I probably can't beat them. Now, that's not such a big worry, but I felt that the Demon was supposed to be like the best of that product, and for you guys to just turn around and say, yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna boost the fucking base horsepower. Yeah, so what that you bought one? We don't really care. You know, I'm a little disappointed with you, but I'm not a Challenger buyer. But if I was, I'd be quite upset with you. I'd be very upset with you. And a lot of people have already voiced their disappointment. Some people, even with the Hellcats and the Demons, because they don't feel as special when they show up to these car shows, because now everybody has the same goddamn car. They got a black Charger Hellcat, or they've got a black Challenger Hellcat. So the thing about it is, you know, that's unavoidable because these are very, very popular, but I'd be very upset with you if I were them, because I was supposed to have the Demon. I was supposed to have the most powerful, fastest, best, beautiful car on the entire block. And now you're taking that same goddamn shape, you're throwing a twin nostril hood on it, and you're putting it out and putting just as much power. So all somebody has to do is buy that, tune it up just a little bit, and they'll be walking my Demon. I'd be very, very disappointed with you if I was a Demon owner. Speaking of the Dodge Demon, though you promised that you would do something about it after the Hellcat debacle, you've done absolutely nothing, or absolutely not enough, to stop these unscrupulous dealers from marking up Trackhawks and marking up Dodge Demons, which is also probably part of the reason why the Trackhawks are still sitting on the lot. When I really think about it, what you should have done was you should have said that the Trackhawk was going to be production limited to about 3,000 units for America, or 300 for Canada, or 1,500 for one and 1,500 for the other. Because I think had you said that this was going to be a limited edition car up front, I think they would have moved a lot faster. You could have drummed up more interest in your boring Trackhawk product that you should have called Jeep Hellcat, but you didn't do that. So I think what you should learn from this is two lessons. Number one, do something to stop these goddamn dealers from marking up cars, because I will never forget when I went to a dealer and these fuckers asked for $110,000 on a regular Dodge Charger simply because they got it in first. Or when I went to East Hills Chrysler, which I will never do business with, and these bastards told me up front that if I wanted to order a Trackhawk, that there was going to be a $30,000 overcharge. And when he said that, I wanted to slap him right in his fucking mouth. But the problem was, I was afraid, you know, here I am, I'm big black, and this is a wealthy white area, so they're probably going to call the police, and it's not going to end well. So I basically just said, oh yeah, well, no thanks, and I just walked out and left. But you've done not enough to stop this from happening. That is the reason why every time I go to a dealership, Trackhawks are just sitting there rotting. And, you know, now people who buy these cars late have to worry about looking under their cars and finding fucking rot under their cars. On a brand new car, they got to worry about finding rust and rot. You should have done something about this. And as a warning for the future, whoever the new guy is after Marconi, who was trying to fuck up Chrysler and push these goddamn piece of shit Italian cars on us, well, now that he's gone, hopefully the new guy is going to learn that lesson. So please, control these markups, make it so the dealers can't buy these things themselves and try to resell it to us. And also, please make sure that if you're going to produce vehicles that are fucking $100,000 plus and damn near uninsurable by the average blue-collar worker who you profess to be selling to, please do me a favor and do something about that. And by doing something about that, I mean, like, don't do it. Thank you. Americans do not want small cars. I hope you're learning your lesson as you watch those little shitty Fiat 500s and those pathetic little Julias sit on the lots. I just want you to understand that no matter how many of these cars that you try to lend to these reviewers, just like when you were doing those Fiat Abarth loans to these quote unquote professional reviewers, I just want you to understand that even if you loan them these cars and the Trackhawks and whatever, they can talk them up as much as they want. But the mere fact of the matter is, the average American is morbidly obese and they ain't planning to buy you a little shitty fucking Italian car. So what can we learn from this? Well, first of all, Americans are fucking huge. That's number one. Don't make fucking small cars, number two. Now, here's the problem. There's a lot of these fucking idiots who call themselves quote unquote auto enthusiasts who are growing up and they're getting just enough money and just enough credit, or they're getting just enough money left to them by dead relatives to be able to buy cars like this. And they, oh yeah, well, it has to have a manual if I'm going to buy it. Oh yeah, it has to be light. It has to have a light curb weight. You morons should have realized by now that the mere fact that these Hellcats weigh over fucking 4,500 pounds, and the mere fact that the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT weighs over 5,200 pounds, you should have realized by now that your quote unquote big cars sell. Nobody knows where the fucking Nürburgring is. You're not Cadillac. You're not racing these bullshit cars around a fucking track. The track is the highway. That's why it's called street and racing technology. But I think you've forgotten that when you liquidated SRT and you made it a Dodge trim. Americans don't want fucking small cars. You fucked up with the Dart. Let me mention that first. It was too small, number one. You never gave it an SRT trim because you had screwed up SRT. Then you turn right around and realize the Chrysler 200's not selling because it's too fucking small. And everybody who goes to look at a 200 ends up in a Jeep Cherokee instead because it's right around the same price range. It's less than $35,000 and it had all-wheel drive and the Pentastar V6. So let me make this real simple for you. Americans don't want fucking small cars, okay? So stop making them. Now, as far as the Viper goes, the reason why I use the picture, I'll tell you like this. If I can't fit in a Viper, it sucks. Okay, bottom line, I don't give a fuck how tall I am. I don't give a fuck how big I am. If you make this thing, if you invite me and I come and I sit there and I get in one of your molds and whatever, and you mold that car around my body, I guarantee you what we'll do is we'll make it big and spacious. Shaq will be able to drive this shit. And we'll put so much fucking power in that car. We're gonna, you talk about fucking red eyes, fuck the red eye. We're going to do like 800 minimum, and we're going to go up from there. We're going to make it easy to tune up. And the other thing is, we're going to make it so that this piece of shit doesn't have just a fucking manual, which nobody nowadays can use. We want to make it so that anybody can walk onto the lot, see that car, drop their social security check and say, yeah, I want to drive out of here with this car. Nobody's buying fucking manuals. That's the bottom line. Manuals are dying all over. Even BMW, Bugatti, Lamborghini. Everybody knows the fucking manual's dead. There's a couple of these morons, quote unquote auto enthusiasts, and these idiots who are car reviewers and they test drive a car for like 5 minutes and then they talk shit about it on YouTube. I don't give a fuck about any of them or their opinions. Bottom line is sales. Automatic, everything. 8-speed, 9-speed, 10-speed, whatever you want to do, automatic, everything. Fuck manuals. Fuck them. And that's the bottom line. So all these auto reviewers, you can hear me, you can get upset, I don't give a fuck. Bottom line is automatic, everything. That's number one. Number two, big car. You got to make it big. The Challenger ain't selling because it's small and goes around a track well. Obviously. The Charger ain't selling because it's small and goes around a track well. The Jeep SRT ain't selling because it's small and it goes around a track well. The Jeep SRT is your best SRT moving product around the world because Dodge isn't in most countries that have left and right-hand drive. So bottom line is, and I shouldn't even have to repeat myself because you're supposed to know this already because you guys claim that you guys are these top-level CEOs. You're supposed to know this. Big cars, automatics, do something to stop these fucking price gougers, please. And anything that is going to cost over $100,000, please make sure that you announce that it's going to be in limited numbers so that this way they don't sit and rot on the track. This is a Maserati GT. Maserati GT right here. Gran Turismo, two-door. Dodge needs to make they need to make a Charger or something, or Barracuda, they can call it whatever they want, but they need to make something using that Maserati two-door. That's what they need. They need that Maserati right there. So I guess to end this video, the last thing I have to say is that the word on the street is that Hyundai is in talks to buy Chrysler from Fiat, basically, or Chrysler Fiat as a whole. I really don't know. But let me tell you something. If they did purchase Fiat Chrysler and whatnot, you can bet that I'm taking my money and I'm going over to Mercedes. Because as far as I'm concerned, I can't have American muscle that's owned by South Korea. Now, you know me, anybody who follows my channel, you know I just came back from South Korea. You know that I've done vlogs because I leased a Hyundai Azera, and then I followed that up with a lease on a Hyundai Genesis. Bottom line is, it's American muscle. It ain't South Korean muscle. It ain't Seoul muscle. It's not Jeonju province muscle. It's American muscle. Now, the first thing somebody's going to jump and say, hey, stupid, yeah, guess what? Your Jeep is made in Canada. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Canada basically is part of America. It's basically an American holding with less than 37 million people in it, where if it wasn't for Americans buying their products, like there'd be basically nobody there because they wouldn't be able to afford to live up there with the bears and the wolves and all the deer and all that, who constantly run in front of their cars. And that's why they have to have the moose test, because they got to be able to outdrive the moose when the moose walks out into the middle of the street. Otherwise, you got like a lot of dead Canadians on your hands. But there's only 37 million of them up there, which is like smaller than the population of Seoul. In fact, like I think it's Seoul is like a 50 million or something like that. Bottom line is this: it's American muscle. It's not South Korean muscle. And even if it's made in Canada, it's not a big deal because we own Canada, so that's fine. But I can't see myself driving a non-American, or at least in this case, a non-American Canadian vehicle. I just can't see it. So if you guys, I just want you to know, because I know this is going to make it all the way up to you, because I've gotten emails from Chrysler people inside and all that. This is going to make it to you. I want you to understand that there's no way in hell that I'm going to buy your product if South Korea purchases this fucking company, because I will take that as like the final straw, the absolute final straw. I don't give a shit if you make a demon with 3,000 horsepower in it. I'm not considering it at all. And I will take my money. I'll just go over to Mercedes, or I'll go over to Tesla once they finally make an interior worth a goddamn. But I just won't, I can't do it. Like, I don't mind buying a Hyundai product instead of a Toyota product, but I'm not buying American muscle that's made by Jeonju province. It's not happening.